Everybody is the hero in their own story. But imagine if before your very eyes you are made out to be the villain. Okay, so now let me tell you this very, very interesting story while you snack. It's like, it's like tea. So listen to me. So now we have this couple. Let's call them Mark and Sarah, you know, for the sake of anonymity. Mark is a tech guy. He works in finance. I know I said tech guy. I don't know why I said tech guy, but he works in finance. He's so chill. He's so cool. Everybody who knows him only has good things to say about the dude. The dude is so chill, and it's just like your stand-up guy. His girlfriend Sarah, she's a breath of fresh air. She's pretty, brunette. She's she's your Pinterest board. She's your New Year resolution. She's an influencer. Her life is set. Everybody likes her. She's just she's just her. She's her, and these people are enjoying their relationship. Okay, so their relationship is going smoothly. Okay, until one day Sarah goes out for a snack run. She said, Mark, I want to go to the to the store to get some groceries. Okay. And as she goes, Mark is just lounging at home because of course, as it is, it's a Saturday and he has nowhere to go. So he's walking around in the house, the apartment he rents with Sarah, his girlfriend. And as he's walking around, he hears a beep, like beep, beep, like the ring you get from a notification, that sort of thing. And he's confused because his phone is in his hand. Okay, he's playing Subway Surfers or whatever, like chill game you would expect somebody like him to play. No, he doesn't play Call of Duty, at least not alone. Okay, and it's like, okay, my phone is with me, and he's certain Sarah went outside with her own phone. Okay, she went out with her phone, so whose phone is ringing? So another beep comes, and it just keeps on like a lot of notifications, guys. Just the kind of like, oh, when you make it, the kind of thing that some of us have been like, oh, when you make it big and you're just getting, oh, this person followed you, Yeonjin's left toe, all of BTS members left toe, it's just following you, that sort of thing. That kind of notification, ding, 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 something like that, and it's confused as heck. So it's following the chimes of the what do you call it? The notification is following it, and then it's in the room. It's in Sarah's room. Okay, so it's like, okay, it's not too weird now because Sarah is an influencer and she probably has more than one phone because she is an influencer. That sort of thing. Like it's kind of like low key normal. But why didn't he know this? Why is this new information for him? So he picks up the phone, and the phone doesn't have any like password stuff or shit like that. So it's kind of chill about it because it's like, okay, so she's not being secretive. It's probably something she didn't even think she needed to tell me, just because of how commonplace it is. Okay. So he picks up the phone just like, what is going on? Even if it's just to mute the notification because they're low key driving him insane. But as he goes to like, his eye saw something else he's not supposed to see, and she has a whole other like WhatsApp, guys. Okay, and he's interested in that. So he clicks on that and he sees first, like, the pin stuff, like when you pin somebody's contact, he sees it and it's like my heart. And he's sure as hell that that is not him. So which person's heart does she have? Like how many hearts does this girl have? Because it's shocking because after that one, there's another pinned contact, my love. Another pinned contact of another, like, guys, I cannot think of another, like, wait, something like just like gummy bears or stuff like that. And he's taken aback, like, what? You are cheating on me with no one dude, but three people, like, damn. But the thing is, Mark didn't know that that would even be the least of his problems, guys. That would be the least of his problems. Because When he decides to like peruse these chats, he finds out that these guys know about him. They don't know about each other though, because that would just be another like roller coaster on its own. But they know about Mark, which isn't kind of weird per se, seeing that Mark is kind of like her social media boyfriend. Everybody who follows her, you know, on her socials know that Mark is her boyfriend. So they know about him. But all of them keeps talking about how, I'm going to save you from him and stuff like that, because basically what Sarah has been telling these her all her boyfriends, secret boyfriends, is that Mark is loco. Yes. You make me un poco loco. No, Mark doesn't make poco loco. Big loco. She's telling these people that Mark is cray cray and that Mark is violent. Yes. So these guys are operating under the notion that they are saving her. Okay. So now Mark is taken aback, like, girl, you could have just broken up with me. Why do you have to lie and destroy my reputation, saying that I'm violent and I'm eating you secretly? Okay. And then all of a sudden, it kind of like, at first, it's first like relieved that at least it's just these people who she's, being committing infidelity and fornication with. It's not like them to their also married, but whatever. Okay, so but then he decides to just, when you've opened the Pandora box, might as well just explore throughout, that kind of thing. So he decides to just go look into her socials, where the whole cause of the problem, where the notifications were coming. She's seen a whole lot of, he's seen a whole lot of consolation, not consolation, but like, so sorry, girl, you don't have to go through that and stuff like that. A lot of comments saying, we stand in solidarity with you, girl, that sort of thing. And he's like, what? And he's clicking and he's clicking. And turns out she wasn't just telling this lie to a secret boyfriend. She was telling it to the whole world, to the whole internet, all her followers. Because guys, the thing was, low-key, she'd been dropping like crumbs of that sort of thing. Like, she would make a very like cryptic kind of post, like with a very like weird-ish caption, maybe where Mark is in the video, he isn't paying that much attention, and it kind of like maybe swats her, like, oh, she's like, oh, Mark Sean is like, "Ugh," and she kind of like paints it as like, it might be a bit, violent. And then that video, people click on it and they're like, oh my god, that is not normal behavior. Like, girl, if he's beating you, wear blue in the next video. And she wears blue, guys. She wears blue in the next video. But then it's kind of like a whole like that kind of thing when you're like playing with them, that sort of thing, where she's like, oh guys, I was just joking. So people don't even know if they should take it seriously, or kind of like, it's a joke but it's not a joke, it's a joke but it's not a joke. She's on that, like, what do you call it again, that line, that stuff, like, but she's like toying with them on the limbo line, like, oh yeah, it's a joke, it's not a joke, he beats me, oh, I'm just kidding, he beats me, I'm just kidding, that sort of thing. And he is messed up. Like, he's on the floor thinking, this girl just ruined my life, because she's telling everybody that I'm psycho, I beat her up, and she's leaving all those cryptic messages, but then also saying, ah. So when she, just as he's like reeling from the shock of it, she walks in and she's like, babe, I'm coming back. Cornflakes are like extra. They're so expensive. What is the country getting to? The president is so bad. And he just like, she's like, babe, what's wrong with you? And he's looking like his phone in his hand, her phone in his hand, and she's like, what are you doing? Why with my phone? Girl, you are the one who needs to explain yourself. And he kind of just like explodes and he's like, what do you mean? Blah 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 blah. And he's yelling, he's angry, he's annoyed, like, what? Because that is a very justified, valid crash out, if I might add. But 100% valid crash out. And he's like, why would you do this? Why would you do that? To his amazement, he finally decides to like really take a good look at this woman. And her second phone is in her hand and she's on a live, guys. A live. And she's crying. She's like, guys, I know I've been telling you guys, but I can't. I can no longer hold on. You guys need to save me. And then, that sort of thing. Boys kind of like taken aback, like, what? Like, he's like, okay, now my behavior is going to actually prove all our lies. And our lies aren't even their lies, but they're going to make them look or appear true. So it kind of like, you know, collect himself and be like, babe, I'm sorry, can you like hang off the light? But that only makes the matter. Like, that doesn't help matter. That doesn't help the case. She eventually, puffed him, like, what do you call it when you, like, she lives the life, she turns off the life, but the damage has already been done, okay? And the damage is catastrophic, especially for Mark, because before you can say Jack Robinson, the whole the video has gone viral. It has reached his workplace. Their friends have seen it. His family has seen it. Everybody has seen it. Everybody and their mother and their mother's dog has seen it. And now Mark is the bad guy. Mark is a crazy lunatic who beats women. Because of that, their whole friend group kind of ostracizes him, because we are not going to be friends with woman beaters. Like, it's the 21st century. And he loses his job because that's what the internet does. You're not careful, you lose your job. And his life is just gone downhill. Like, you could think, oh, it couldn't get worse, but it just kept on getting worse. Worse. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. This is a very serious story. Meanwhile, Sarah, the architect of all these problems, what happened to her? She got a brand deal off of this from a low-key shading, like what is it called? Not shady, sorry. I don't know what I wanted to say that, but from like a whole like healing therapy app, people were giving her, she became viral. She gained like 50K followers overnight. People, just telling her, oh, we feel so sorry for you. You had to go through so much. There was also some skeptics or some people that were like, why was she in a relationship with him that long? But those people were the minorities. They were the minorities of the minorities. Everybody else was really, really feeling for Sarah. And Mark was Satan's assistant. Mark was not even Satan's assistant. The devil was Mark's appearances in those people's eyes. So Mark was just on his own. His life has gone down. He's lost the love of his life. Somebody he was probably preparing to propose to. He has lost his job. His parents are ultimately, they are like disappointed in him. All his friends have kind of like just, and then Mark is just on his own in his room, in the house that he once shared with Sarah. And he looks out the window. The night sky. The whole world is moving on, with or without him. Somebody in the next building is dancing to some song he can't hear. The whole world seems pretty normal. Nobody cares that Mark's life got destroyed by the internet. And Mark walks over to the balcony. He looks down. It's 5 stories, at least 5 stories. And he's contemplating. He's scared. But also the fear of continuing to live that way is too much. And he's contemplating, maybe he should just end it. And he's about to, guys. He's really about to. But just as he's about to, his phone on the table in the veranda, in the balcony, beeps. And as he looks at it, it's a notification from Google Photos. On this day, 5 years ago, before Sarah, the picture, he looked healthy, he looked happy. And it's occurred to Mark that before Sarah, he was a whole human being. He was okay. He had a life. And after Sarah, he could very well get a life. And so, by God's grace, he didn't go through with what he wanted to do. He came down back from the balcony, because he already did, guys. I don't know, I'm mixing it up. And he sat down and he kept on looking at all those pictures till he cried himself to sleep. But guys, he's not just going, he's going to gain back his life. Now, the damage that Sarah done on him was so great. Nobody, he was popular on the internet, infamous. And nobody was going to give him a job. Nobody was going to be friends with him. The stain was on him. And Mark knew that if he wanted to live, if he wanted to get his life back, he would have to set things straight. And so he decided to look into Sarah because nobody is a perfect criminal. We're all human and we definitely slip up. And he was going to find out where Sarah did. And so it didn't take too long because the digital proof, the internet never forgets. And Sarah had digital footprints for days because she's been doing this influencer thing for quite some time now. And then he begins to notice a pattern, guys. Basically, 5 years ago, Sarah had a cheating boyfriend. Okay. You're like, oh, Fedela, that's not a really like, yeah, I mean, stuff like that happened. But 5 years before that, she also had a professor who tried to do nasty things to her, who lost his job. And 5 years before that, she had a nasty bestie who wanted to steal her life. Now, normally you could say, oh, guys, this is just a series of, misfortunes that happened in her life. But Mark wasn't going to take that. He knew there was more to it than met the eye. So he was going to investigate it. Especially because every single one of those people, the ex-boyfriend, the professor, the ex-best friend, were all saying the same thing. They were innocent and she was lying. He understood them because he felt he was in the same position. Sorry. Damn, this room got dusty quick. Sorry. He understood them because he felt like he was in the same position as them. So he decided to ask, contact these people, connect with these people. And then we noticed something about Sarah. Sarah does this for a living. Sarah puts her time and effort into a person. She makes that person a character in her life story. And just like a crazy Frankenstein author, when she sees that they have fulfilled their purpose, she takes them out of her story. But she doesn't do that without gaining some extra points for herself, whether they be sympathy points, which would gain her followers, or money points like brand deals who wants to, get off of, also prop off of this, the new followership she has gained. Every single time that a best friend, wanted to steal her life, or a professor wanted to molest her, or a boyfriend was cheating on her, or her boyfriend was violent, they were all lies that she orchestrated for a purpose. And then Mark's one had to be extra, extra large because he was kind of like the grand finale. It was kind of like the grand slam, the WWE title. So now that they've uncovered this, he decides to, say this, tell the story, tell everybody what is going on. But nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to listen to a crazy, hypocritical woman beater. Nobody's going to listen. If any friend he goes over to, talk to, they shun him. And no show or YouTube channel or podcast wants to have him. It's not going to be good for business. So he's all on his own. But Mark is not going to give up. So what does he do? Simple. He puts all this information in a very, very popular forum. But it doesn't stop there because people could as well just leave it. He sends it to a family first, and then things spread from there. And somehow, that kind of, the people who were the minorities were like, how was she in a relationship with him for that long? And I don't think this had up. Those people were no longer the minority, they were the majority. and people wanted them to look into this because when you see once, okay, once is okay, is an event. Twice is a coincidence. Three times is something. Four times, girl, we need to. And then there was the investigation, and turns out the best friend, innocent. The professor, innocent. At least in that scenario, guys. I'm not going to talk about maybe if there's any other thing yet. I'm not saying it's completely innocent. Guys, just the ex-boyfriend who cheated, he did cheat, but because she led him to cheat. And no, guys, I'm not saying this, oh, she was, no, 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 no. She actually made him cheat. Like, she literally, put him in that position. He had no power by himself. And Mark, yes, Mark was vindicated. So everybody was vindicated. All the people who had their records, their lives practically destroyed and halted for a couple of followers. I know 10K is a lot, but still a couple of followers who really don't care about you. Sarah, she lost her followers. They clowned her on the internet. She lost her brand deals. Some of the brands even sued her. So she's looking for money now to save herself, to save her destiny. And Mark relocated to another continent entirely, where he's now going to start his life. A place where nobody knows him as Sarah's Mark. How was your meal? Did you enjoy your food? Okay. Bye. See you next week. And if you guys enjoy this this kind of best videos to watch while eating, let me know so that I can keep on making more. Okay. Bye. See you in the next video.